Okay. The pickleball championships are, I don't know what's going on.
I want to be in the pickleball championships. We need to get out there.
I need to play more than the 3 times I've played to even be considered a spectator.
They say 10,000 hours or 10 minutes or so. You'll feel like you're.
Well, then I'm an expert diaper changer. But don't bet on that. But if you do want to bet on some games, BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025.
Whether you're a seasoned fan or first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion.
Oh, yeah. With the largest selection of odds on everything from NBA and college basketball to the NHL and UFC, BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source.
From every three-pointer to hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win.
Bet online. The game starts here.
That's right. Cheers.
Cheers.
To you, my companion, my friend.
I don't know if you noticed, but I'm taking Jason Statham classes.
Yeah. You know what? My voice is always, it's just so
Why
nasally.
haven't you finished your lunch?
What's up with them
What do you mean?
sausages, Tick?
You told me you wanted peanut butter and jelly, and then you bring it home, and there's still a peanut butter and jelly in here.
Peanut butter and jelly in there. Yeah, my voice is always just so nasally, and then I get sick, and I'm like, yeah,
All right.
yeah, this is cool. I sound cool. Everything hurts, and
Everything
everything's awful,
hurts.
but my voice sounds really cool. You get the radio voice going when you're sick.
See, this, where I'm at now, I don't mind. Monday was a nightmare. I had to, it was bad. Couldn't even talk.
Do you get that when you get sick, like you just completely lose your voice? I mean, we were talking in a meeting, and like you were there. I could see you. You had a smile on your face.
No, I didn't.
And your mouth was moving, but nothing was coming out of your mouth. Like no voice at all.
I
don't ever really get that.
When I get a cold, it's just I need to be careful. But the thing is, I don't get a cold a lot, so
Yeah.
I make the mistake of, whatever. I was at my daughter's swim meet yelling, and then I lost my voice.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah. And then I lose it super easily when I get a cold.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is where I'm at now. It's not ideal, but it's fine. I'll live with it. We have been through the ringer with sickness. I know we talked about it on multiple podcasts, but it has been it's been wild. I have a cold. Daughter has a flu, and there's like a mini heat wave in LA. It was like 87 outside.
I know. Last couple days.
Listen, I know.
Why is it like 90 degrees in February?
If you're like in one of the cold areas, the Northeast or something, and listen to this, and you're like, oh, must be nice. It's not. When you get 87 in February, you know that summer's going to be bad.
Summer is going to be awful. We were in that weather on tour, and we went to the East Coast, and man, we were getting chased by the snow the whole time.
Oh my God, we haven't had a podcast since the show.
We haven't had a podcast since the show where we went on
the
a
East
tour,
Coast
the East
tour.
Coast tour, which was so much fun.
So much fun. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, for all the people that come out.
What was that, 2 years ago?
yeah, in January.
2 years ago this Wednesday.
It was so much fun, and man, that seems like it was so long ago. But we were just in the mode, like we're just traveling by ourselves. We don't
and other than that, if I will, it was funny because it does feel like it was far long ago.
Yeah.
But yesterday, my daughter hugged me and she was like, "I'm so glad you're back." And my instinct was like, "It's been okay, yeah, it's only."
You're
been,
like, I was
only
at
been
the
a little
store.
while.
Oh.
I knew she was talking about the tour, but I was like, that was a week and a half ago.
A week and a half ago. Feels like 2 years ago. Yeah, I mean, getting chased around by the snow, managing all of our own stuff. It's just the two of us traveling, so we have like all of our stuff with us.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's easy to be in it, I guess. I mean, I know like our wives are keeping track of where we are and worried about our traveling. So we're driving around in between the states and the storms and everything. But when we're just in it, we're just going city to city, and then it's so much fun to get to the next night and like it's about to be live. Like we were sitting there, what was like the second show or something, where it's like, man, this is the worst part when it's like we're ready, the stage is set, like people are filing in, and now we're just like sitting back there waiting. That's the worst part. The best part is when it starts, and then we do the hour show, and it's like it goes by like 5 minutes. Feels like it's 5 minutes long.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Crazy how fast it goes.
Really fun show.
And then getting to sit around and talk to everybody after was fun. And, you know, we don't get a ton of time in all the cities, but when we do, when we had a moment in New York that was fun, we had a brief, we had a lunch in Boston, which is cool.
Had to have a lunch in Boston.
A lunch in
on the
Boston.
harbor.
But man, it was so cold while we were there. It's so funny, like how we bring our beanies and our big jackets and everything. But it was really fun walking around the cities, snow on the ground, and it's like 20 degrees outside or whatever. But then coming back here and less than a week later, it's like 90 degrees. It's like the most insane feeling.
Yeah.
In February, still.
I think that's how you like can crack metal. So
Yeah.
I'm not doing well.
I'm not doing great. And that brings me to a little bit of my dumb dad moment, which is that we go on tour, right? And then while we're on tour, so it's like we're on tour, right? So shout out to the wives because they hold it down while we're gone. They take the kids to school, which is usually our job every day. We bring the kids to school every day and like all that stuff. They're handling all that stuff in addition to everything else while we're gone, acting like a bunch of goofballs. And that's when my daughter was sick with the flu, was when we left.
That's right.
So it's like, you know, it's already kind of feel, you know, I feel bad that like they're dealing with extra while we're gone. But at the same time, it's important. We're coming out here trying to grow this thing. So it's like, you know, it is what it is, right? But then, of course, my daughter gets like the flu. And she comes home from school like the early day, like one of like the first days we left. My wife is of course like, I don't need this right now. Like I'm so sorry. Like, you know, she's updating me like while we're on the road that she's sick home. You know, like oh my god, this is so awful. And then so we're gone for like 8 days, whatever it was, and she's sick like the whole time. And they don't swab her for the flu, but she was like pretty sick, but kind of showing improvements. It was just next thing to the next thing. Mostly though, the most consistent thing was just exhaustion. She was so tired, like she would just fall asleep, in the middle of the day and everything. Never had a bad fever or anything, but would just like make it to like noon and fall asleep for like an hour and a half.
I have to say, if you're a parent working from home, you don't want your kids sick, but that's ideal.
That's ideal if, but of course, any other moment is like, I need something or I need help me, please.
And
and
so,
so,
go to sleep.
yeah. So then we're out there running around like 100 miles an hour, which we don't even realize it. Like we're kind of just going from city to city, thing to thing, hotel to hotel, gathering our stuff. And we don't really realize how much we are essentially just, 100 miles an hour the whole time we're gone. It feels like we have moments, but we're definitely, it's like the mental capacity of like what we're trying to do is like, it takes its toll. And what you don't realize is like that you realize that. And that like when you come home, there's this weird collapse. Like for me, it was a collapse of my immune system apparently because
I loved this. I loved hearing this so bad. Well, here's the thing. I will say before you get into it, like it's a collapse of your mental because it's like it's no different than a vacation that has an itinerary.
Yeah.
We had a big itinerary.
Yeah.
We didn't have to deal with like swim or cooking class or a kid with the flu.
A kid with the flu or any of that stuff.
Or any of that stuff. So we had it like, it was pretty linear and easy in that regard. I understand what you're saying when you come home from a vacation,
You feel like you're like, man, I need a day off.
Don't say that out loud.
Not saying from that, but I'm like, when you go on like a family vacation, you come home and you're like, that was a lot of work. I need a day to like.
A family vacation.
A family vacation
yes.
is what I'm saying.
Yes.
No, I didn't feel like we needed a day off after a tour.
But
the day after, although at the end of it, man, we tripped at the finish line trying to come home, missing a flight or a flight was canceled. Had to drive from Boston to Pittsburgh 10 hours, basically like 10 hours through the snow. Got to our own show like a half an hour late, and then basically ran on stage after what was supposed to be a 2-hour flight. And then land in Pittsburgh, have the day to prepare. No, we drove all the way to Pittsburgh from Boston.
Yeah.
It took like over 10 hours and barely made it to the show on time, within a respectable amount of time, people waiting for us.
Yeah.
And then the next day, flight delayed because of de-icing, missing our other flight home, rerouted, had to fly. Instead of going from Pittsburgh to Minneapolis and Minneapolis to LA, we have Pittsburgh to Minneapolis. The door was frozen shut, couldn't get off the plane. Then had to fly to Vegas, and it was just like such a long haul to try to just get back home.
Yeah.
And then I wake up the next day with the flu. And like felt so bad and awful. And my daughter was like still going through it. And that's kind of my dumb dad moment, is not realizing like you're not off the hook. Like when you come home, like it's not like, all right, regular life starts now. Because guess what? Regular life starts now in the way that you're in the thick of it immediately. And like I woke up the next day feeling so awful, and my daughter still was like needs another day. Like she's like complaining in the morning. Like I was like, okay, I'm home with her, that's fine. But I woke up feeling so bad that I wanted her to sleep in. So I take my son to school, and on the way to school, like my back, like the body aches I had were so bad I couldn't even get comfortable sitting in the car. Yeah, just driving my son to school. He's like asking me questions, and I'm doing I'm doing the thing where he's like, Dad, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't know, man, I don't know. Yeah, okay. Like I didn't need him to be talking to me. Yeah, and I've been gone for 8 days, so he's like excited to talk to me, telling me about stuff, and the whole time I'm just thinking like, stop talking to me. I was so uncomfortable. I go home, get my daughter. I'm like, guess whose turn it is to go to the doctor now? My turn. So I'm like, you need to take me to the doctor. I don't feel good. I get there. The guy's like, they go to urgent care. The guy's like, I let the lady know like the symptoms, and she's like, okay. So she goes and gets the doctor, and the doctor comes in. He takes one look at me and he goes, yeah, your heart rate's elevated. And of course you're just sitting here. So that's a little flu-like. You look a little flu-like to me. I had a mask on. The dude's like, bro, you look like you have the flu.
They're rough.
So he's like, let me swab you. So he swabs me, and he's like, chill here for a little bit. And I didn't take anything that morning because I was like, I want to go in like in the state that I'm in to tell, give me my assessment and then tell me what I can start taking, right? So, but I'm sitting in that chair. My daughter's just kind of like looking around the room, She's off school that day, but she's like a little bit on the up and up. And so I'm sitting there, and like he's like, it'll be about 10 minutes. Okay, takes about 10 minutes. If nothing shows up, we'll give you, maybe we'll send it in the lab, see what else is going on. But I'll be back in about 10 minutes. Guy shows up like, I swear to God, 90 seconds later. He's like, yeah, you got the flu, man. Yeah. Like lit it up like a Christmas tree.
Nice.
Which is nice because he's like, we can at least start you on like Tamiflu and stuff. Whereas in your daughter's case, and also in my daughter's case, if you catch it too late, they're like, it's too far past. Yeah. And if you're showing improvement, it's just like, well, you just had to get through it. Yeah. So he's like, I can subscribe, I can give you stuff. So then we're going to CVS, and it's like, man, what a punch in the face trying to get back home to like be a dad again. And now I'm out for a week with the flu, needing to avoid anyone else in the house getting it. So now I'm just...
The wife loves all of this.
Wife loves it so much. Now I'm just back in the bedroom, quarantining myself so in-laws don't get it. They can't get the flu. So I'm just sitting back there dealing with the flu like some idiot. I felt so awful that like
mentally and physically.
Physically felt terrible. Mentally probably felt worse. That it's like, here I'm home, back into the thick of it to help out. I know I was gone. Actually, I need to go lay down. God, dude, like I just felt so awful that you can't do anything.
Was your wife, because this is understandable, whereas your wife like, I understand you can't control this, but I'm furious at you?
I think she didn't ever say she was mad at me, but she wasn't. She wasn't like, "How are you feeling, honey?"
Sure. Oh, yeah. No, she doesn't care.
No.
Yeah.
No, and that's fine.
They still have to breastfeed after giving birth to children. They don't give a flu.
No, they don't. No, they don't. And like, you're in between a rock and a hard place. There's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
Except for just sit there and take it.
Being an idiot. Being a dumb dummy.
Being dummy. And like, at the same time too, like what I thought back to was like when we were on tour, we were like fighting for water. We were always looking for water, getting water bottles from the hotel, whatever, like refilling a water bottle, like trying to make sure we're drinking water to like not be stupid on tour, right?
Yeah, we drink a lot of water.
We drink a lot of water. Also, we're protecting our voices because you're going to show to show. You don't want to lose your voice like a moron into a show. But like, and like I brought these stuff. It was like,
what do you think it's when you put your mouth
probiotic
on
gummies?
You put your mouth on the water fountain, like the whole mouth. That probably.
Well, I don't want to waste any of the water.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like a cartoon character putting their mouth on a garden hose.
The spigots in the hotels in New York City just getting water. But like, I brought those probiotic like gummies. I threw them in my backpack, and like every morning I was taking them just to like a little extra something, extra vitamins. Well, none of it mattered.
I don't think you took them the last day.
Oh, but like all I could think back was like, why? What's the point of it if you're just gonna get home and get punched in the face with the flu?
Yeah, that's often when I think about those things.
Just thinking back of like how conscious I was being of like not being stupid and like, you know, so that I would come home and not feel well.
Yeah.
I knew when we came home, it was like, okay, when you come home, it's not like, oh, well, let me tell you all about tour and relax. No.
Yeah. Back to work.
Back to work.
Yeah.
Incorrect. They didn't do that. No. Stupid. God. I'm still so annoyed.
You should be. You'll never be as annoyed as your family was for not being present after coming home.
No,
but like, you know, it's fine. It's fine.
I know. I can still beat myself up over it.
Mm-hmm. You can still make yourself the victim somehow. Wow.
Wow.
Poor Evan. Right in, guys. It's okay. That's funny.
Oh, my God.
That's great. My dumb dad moment is brought to you by the Tooth Fairy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do we need to, if you're listening to this, you need to take a break from the kids or push pause?
Yeah, I guess so. You guys can take a break if there's, this is just an adult's talk. We'll just say it that way. The adults talk.
The adults are talking now.
So my son.
I can't believe you qualified us as adults.
I know, right? My son is was turning into a shark.
Yeah.
He had his bottom two teeth were loose.
Here, the picture that your wife said, describe that on.
So I think he had loose. I think his tooth was loose before I even went on tour.
Yeah.
But you know, new things for kids. They get scared, wiggle it, and then he forgets about it. Then we forget about it, and then like 3 days later, we're like, "What's going on with that tooth?"
Yeah.
You know. Like, and he's like,
"What's up with that tooth? What's up with that tooth?"
Still wiggly, and you're like, "Wow, okay." So when we come back, we see that he is. I'm guessing when your teeth start to get loose, sends a signal in your brain. These guys are coming out. Send up the recruits. Send up the replacements.
Yeah.
So
well, that's also why they're getting loose.
Yeah, is they're just wiggling out.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes they can jam in place, which is a problem, and then you have to get them pulled.
Yeah, my son had to do that. Yeah,
because the new teeth came in and wedged them in.
I don't remember, man. He's been through it.
It happened to my brother. It's like if you don't get those teeth out in time and your new teeth come in, they'll basically pin them in.
Yeah,
and now they're not loose anymore.
Right. Yeah.
And the dentist is like, "I'll handle this. Let me get my toolkit. I need some pliers. And I need to be able to
school for.
Need some pliers. I need to be able to point my elbow at the ceiling for a second.
Oh my God!
Can you take your hand off the armrest? I need my foot there.
Yeah. Put my forearm on your larynx so I can get this thing out of there.
So he had two teeth on the inside of his mouth, behind where his like two little baby teeth out, two middle front teeth.
Yeah.
On the bottom. So we saw that and we're like, all right, we might have to really encourage this regularly. So it was just like every day I was like, you wiggling that tooth? You wiggling it? Like just on top of him.
How about an apple? Want an apple?
And I was like, do you want me to pull it out? And he's like, no. And I was like, okay. So he's just like wiggle.
How adverse was he to that? Like my daughter's like, don't come near me. My son eventually was like, yeah, let's get this thing out of here. But my daughter was like, still.
So here's the thing.
Do not touch my teeth.
He was adverse to it. And then I think he was getting frustrated that it wasn't coming out.
Yeah.
Like he was just like, it's wiggling, but like, what are we doing here? So I was like, why don't you pull it out? Gave him like a tissue. Use the tissue, get a better grip, and he doesn't know what he's doing. So he's just like, no, not working.
My tooth doesn't have to sneeze, Dad.
Yeah. I was like, you're gonna have some boogers when that thing comes out, though. So I was like, why don't you can you let me just try pulling it once? I'll do one pull, and I won't do it again. And he was like, okay. Yeah. So I get a paper towel, put it on his tooth. As I'm pulling, I go, oh yeah, I can take her out and pop it out, which like scared him. I think it hurt slightly.
The fear is so much greater than the pain of a tooth coming out that like didn't need to be in there.
Yeah. And then when I showed it to him, like all that went away. We're excited. We're celebrating.
Yeah.
Now he's happy. Now we're like calling the grandparents, showing the tooth. Everything's great. He gets his letter from the Tooth Fairy. He gets his money. Everything's great. And now we get the second one. And this is where the dumb dad moment happens. Because the first one went pretty smoothly. Although he did say like the next day, he was like, Dad, that did hurt a little bit when you pulled my tooth. And I was like,
now that the ceremony's kind of died down a little bit, I'm going to level with you.
I was like, cool.
Didn't appreciate that.
Cool. How much money did he get? You okay? Shut up. Sometimes you need to work hard to make money. Okay.
It doesn't just fall into your lap. Sometimes you need to trade something.
Soft hands.
Trade.
You gotta
some
make
goods.
money. You gotta work for it. So I was like, oh, sorry, bud. So because of that, he was like not interested in me attempting the second one, which was as wiggly as the first one. Like they were both coming out. So
the picture that your wife sent, like while we were on tour, was like this kid had the 2 wiggly baby teeth, and then the 2 teeth behind, the 2 adult teeth coming behind, like had breached the surface.
Yeah,
it literally looked like a row of shark's teeth.
it did.
It was like
that's how it works. It's a nightmare. So he was wiggling it. He was not letting me pull it out. And I was just like, all right, buddy. I'm just going to be on top of you. Wiggle, wiggle. Keep wiggling it.
Yeah.
Do you want me to pull it? No. I'm a little scared now. And then, so then we're at dinner. Everything's fine. And we're eating like, I don't know, El Pollo Loco.
Yeah.
I say that because we were having like tortilla chips.
Yeah.
He eats a tortilla chip. Then he starts crying. And we're like, what's wrong? And he's like touching his throat. So I know like a sharp chip's in his throat. He's not joking.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh, buddy, they're kids. They don't know what to do. So I was like, oh, buddy, drink some water. So I grab his water, which is his straw. And I hit him in the mouth with it. I whack him right in the mouth with it. Because he's like, and I was like, here, drink some water. And I think he went forward as I was putting the cup forward. And bam, he went, oh. And like, I was like, oh, buddy, I'm so sorry. And then he just goes, ugh, and takes out his tooth. So I had just popped his tooth out with the straw, which was perfect. Same. It was. He went, oh. And I didn't think I hit the tooth. I thought I hit like his mouth or gums, like on the top or something.
Yeah.
And then he just was like, moved his tongue and like grabbed a tooth. I was like, oh.
How's that chip though?
Nothing about the chip anymore, are you?
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. And then, so we're like, oh, great. Same thing.
Now he's on a hot streak.
Same thing. Doesn't remember me hitting him in the mouth. Doesn't remember the chip.
Yeah.
He's excited. He's got another tooth. 2 in 3 days or something like that.
Wow.
It's great. Let's do it. So the dumb moment doesn't end there.
Oh, good. Fantastic. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
So he goes to bed that night. My wife and I go to bed that night. I mean, this was like, I don't even know what day it is. Like,
Same girl, same. No
you know what
idea.
I mean? I think this was all kind of around my daughter being sick. So it was all just bad and haze. And so 3 a.m. comes around. Our son climbs into our bed, which he does often. Second, he climbs into my bed. I go, oh, and this is where it should be for adults only. I go, oh no. I get out of bed. And my wife's like snuggling up to him, looking at me going, what? And I go, we didn't do it. We didn't do it. And she was like, do what? And I was like, we didn't do the tooth fairy. And she was like, oh.
That, yeah, I've done that.
So she's like,
more than once. And that panic is like, I can't undo the fact that I didn't do it. What do I do?
So my wife always does the note. She always writes a note.
Yeah.
And then I usually do the Indiana Jones swap. And it was so funny because it was just like, well, this will be easy because now he's in our bed. But now we have to be like, both parents are jumping out of bed being like, just stay there. We'll be right. We are going to sleep with you, but you stay right there.
Yeah.
And then we're running around groggy 3 a.m, like
looking for cash.
Looking for cash. So it was just an absolute mess. And then swapped it out, went to bed, and it worked out. But he's funny though. He's the opposite of like the panic is one of those things where if you don't take out your garbage barrels the night before, the trash truck comes at 5 a.m.
Correct.
If you do take them out the night before, they don't come till 1 p.m.
Correct.
So I know that I'm saying this is a curse, but it's been true now twice of somebody who, like, what? Both times he's lost his tooth, put it on a pillow under his pillow for the tooth fairy. And the next morning, he's been wandering around for about a half an hour before we're like, hey, bud, did you check your pillow?
Yeah, it doesn't
and he's
even
like,
check.
oh, right, yeah. Like every time. Oh, yeah, how's that doing?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Anyway.
So it's one of those things where it's like, you panic every time if you wake up at 3 a.m. and it hasn't happened. But like, know that it's the first time. Second time, I'll give a pass. The first time, you're not waking up being like, it's finally happened. I have traded in my bones for currency. I wonder what the first two they'll get me.
What is happening?
It makes me wonder.
That's one of my favorite. We do a lot of magic building for the kids, however you celebrate holidays and all these things, a lot of magic world building for the children. That is the one that as you get older, the more confusing it gets, the more you think about it. So you just don't think about it. You just put $1 under there and move on because what is this person?
Yeah, they made a
fairy.
I think they made a horror movie in
they need to.
In the early 2000s called The Tooth Fairy. Never saw it.
But
I saw like a picture and it was like a creepy old woman like with her hand on the door slightly opened and she said The Tooth Fairy and I was like, yeah.
yeah.
Where's that movie been?
What are you doing with them?
How did we come up with a guy in a hockey mask killing kids at a lake before we came up with the thing we were all talking about regularly?
Where are you getting the money?
You guys are overdoing it. I saw Hellraiser. It's right in front of you. But he's got pins all over his face. I got a better one. Somebody who collects children's teeth.
Yeah. Collects them. Offers money. It's
does
a fair
what?
trade.
Does what with them? That's the best part. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
And the parents even say to their kids, "No idea."
No clue. Let's not think about that.
Yeah.
How much did you get? The only thing I can think of, like the first image I think of is a necklace. If you were gonna design the Tooth Fairy or whatever, don't you think that like it's probably on a necklace, a bunch of teeth on a necklace? That's at least something.
Yeah.
That would be Tooth Fairy-esque. I can't imagine it looks like Tinkerbell because the hidden agenda behind that is like that's a front for something. I don't even want to know what.
I think she just grinds it up and snores like coke. Because she's got the dollars to make roll it up.
How? Where'd she get money?
She might be able to it might be something simple like she can just like transform her body into just like an average person and she just like works at Starbucks.
Yeah. She saves her money.
She doesn't need to eat food because she's immortal.
Like
food is like
that's true. Yeah,
water is not a real thing. So.
Right.
I think we've gone off the rails here. You have time to read Parent's Mission?
Yeah, we probably do.
All right. Guys, if you have a dumb parent moment, you guys can write into us, dumbdadpod@gmail.com, or you can DM us. We are at The Dumb Dads on Instagram. We're at The Dumb Dads on all social media, so please follow us on there. We love to hear them. We talked about them on the tour. Some people shared this. One of my favorite parts of the tour while you're queuing this up was at the Pittsburgh show. It just happened organically, and it was so sweet. When the show was over, I think you caught the tail end of it, but you got stopped near the bathrooms.
Yeah, I did.
Which was funny. And then
I was not aware that was what... Like that's where the bathrooms were.
Evan wasn't going to the bathroom. It was just like on the way to the lobby because we were doing the meet and greet. Evan got stopped there, and then once you stop, it's it.
Now I'm talking to people that are waiting to go to the bathroom, and I wasn't aware.
Hi, nice to meet you. Did you wash your hands?
Everyone's so antsy. I think they're really nervous.
So I just pushed through and I went to the lobby. But what happened organically that I really appreciated was that every time I met somebody, like the first person I met, they were like, "Hi, so nice to meet you." So my husband, and they would tell me a dumb dad moment. And then the person behind them was like, "Hi, dude, thanks for the show, blah, blah." And they were like,
"Yeah,
here's what I did. Here's my dumb dad moment." And then like it was over and over and over where they just kept sharing their dumb parent moments.
Yeah.
It was such a little sweet moment. I was like, it just happened organically. I didn't say, come and meet us and tell us your dumb dad moment. But like, I think the people there were like, "Oh, we're sharing dumb dad moments. I got one." And like everybody kept, it happened like, I don't know, 6 to 10 people in a row where they were just sharing. And I was like, "Oh, this is lovely."
And it was nice. People wanted to take photos with us, which was very nice. And the other thing I appreciated was like everyone was like nicely waiting in line so they could maybe come talk to us for a second.
Yeah.
Either tell us their favorite part of the show or like a dumb dad moment or something like that. But also like they would be like, if they wanted to take a picture, which is super fun, we'd take a picture, but then like the person behind him in line was the photographer. And that happened like so many times in a row. It was like you turn around like, can you guys take our picture? And everyone's like,
It's the village.
it's the village. Everyone was so nice. So yeah, we just appreciate everybody that that operates like that. I mean, I think that's the thing is like the community is like is strong when you realize like, oh yeah, this. I mean, we're up there, kind of writing our way around the points we're making and the stories we tell, but it's still the community. We're still dads who do stupid things, and we're just up there admitting it in front of a lot of people. But I mean, that's part of it. It's just so much fun. All right, this was sent to us by Laura, who was at our DC show.
Laura, thanks for coming out.
Thanks for coming out and braving the snow. You get a special prize because everyone was like, if it snows in DC, good luck getting people to come out because it does not handle snow well.
We also understand if you didn't come out because it was wild.
It was wild. We go in, it was starting to stick on the ground. We come out of the show and it's like a foot on the ground. So understandable. Okay, Laura writes, hello, dumb dads. My husband and I came to your live show in D.C. last night, and I just wanted to tell you how hilarious and spot on it was, and to thank you for braving D.C. in a blizzard. It was great to meet you. We have enjoyed your sketches forever, and your podcast back catalog kept me sane during my most recent maternity leave. Yes. Our kids are 5 and 1, so we've had our share of dumb parent moments, big and small. But I wanted to share the one I had about a year ago that felt the most like a totally unforced own goal.
Let's go.
This moment happened on a flight back from visiting my folks, and the kids were then 4 and 4 months.
Okay.
It was my first flight alone with both kids. That's not going to, with 4 and 4 months.
Whoops.
My husband had flown out with us, but had to go back home early for work, and I was pretty nervous, understandably.
Yeah.
The flight was about 3 hours, and I had game planned for as many contingencies as I could think of. I had snacks. I had iPad. I had extra clothes for everyone.
Right.
And somehow we had gotten to a point, with the help of a very nice person sitting next to me, where the baby was sleeping in the baby carrier and my 4-year-old was watching her iPad happily with about an hour to go.
Okay.
Feeling pretty good.
Feeling a little too good.
Feeling a little too good. That must be when you're thinking like, I think something bad's going to happen.
Yep.
It had been a bit of a bumpy flight, however, and they had kept the seatbelt sign on. When they finally turned it off, I decided that even though she said she didn't want to, my daughter should use the bathroom because I wasn't confident there would be another opportunity for a while. Smart. Turns out this was a mistake.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they heard it. Here it comes.
Yeah.
She didn't need to go, but somehow turning the iPad off disturbed whatever zen she found with her movie and snack, and she realized that her ears really hurt. So she didn't pop them, probably, going up into the pressure.
Sure.
And getting up, I woke the baby. So now both kids were scream crying the entire rest of the flight. Way to go, me.
That's a long hour.
That's a long
I'll tell you, hour.
I don't know exactly how long it is, but it's longer than an hour.
Sure
I can tell
is.
you that. Anyway, thank you for what you do. So much parenting content makes you feel like you're not doing it right, but you guys always make me feel like we're all just about doing the best we can and laughing about our mistakes later. All the best, Laura. Thank you, Laura. That is so funny how you think. Now you're just sitting here thinking like, how did I decide to ruin a good situation?
Flights with kids are a delicate game. Of like
It's a delicate game.
Jenga. Having kids on a plane is like playing Jenga on a plane.
On a plane, yeah. 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 Why did we bring this?
This is a bad idea. Just love the game so much.
Relatable.
That's so great.
Yeah, thank you, Laura.
So keep sending them in. I think that's a good place to leave it. Yeah. Thanks, Verdú on SoundCloud for the music. Thanks, as always, to my wonderful wife, Annie, for editing this podcast. Do you have a joke?
I got a joke for you. Ready?
Okay.
I just realized something. That speaking of getting sick, I realized I tend to actually only get sick Monday through Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
Are you like that? I think it's my weekend immune system.
What?
Weekend immune system.
Weekend.
Yeah.
Weekend.
Yeah. I tried to bury it.
You really buried it because you pronounced weekend too well.
Yeah.
I was like, is that a thing?
I don't need to lead you to the water.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you guys next week. All right, bye.
Bye.
Welcome to the world, little one. Welcome to life.
How do I stop this?
The Dumb Dad Podcast is proudly presented by Bet Online.